You know what? I'm not gonna be like that. Oh, because my favorite team is going to the Super Bowl since 2012. I should not be that happy. I should be grateful. We have missed the playoffs in like 5 seasons. We came from a Colin Kaepernick, Dred York situations off the front office, guys leaving us, career-ending injuries, all that crap. Big ups to the Packers for making it after 3 seasons missing the playoffs. They have one of the best seasons out so far. They end with a third with a 13-3 season. They had a tremendous year, and Packers fans, I hope, are grateful for this season. We started off with an unanswered 27 points in the first half. That accumulated to 37 points in the rest of the game, but other than that, it's been the defense keeping us apart. Even though we suffered injuries off the running game, Raheem Morset, we have most of our running backs going for a collection of over 600 yards over the past season. And then we had Raheem Morset hit 4 touchdowns. We lost Tevin Coleman and McKinnon over injury, but Tevin Coleman was earlier over the game, and he only was with 6 carries for 21 yards. Deebo Samuel was used for short plays, but he got like a few good gains in there. But he wasn't the most primitive part of the offense. It's really off zone running that's been our primary strength. These guys, the Packers couldn't hit up beside the gut, and it really helped that we even, because I thought we were going to get slowed down, except I know they had no linebacking depth. So my picks video, you think I'd be dumb from the start thinking the 49ers because of freaking, like, obviously it's, it would be like a one-sided pick. But really, I felt like the Packers of the 49ers were the better all-around team. The only offensive threats that the Packers have is either Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, and Jimmy Graham, and a bit of Lizard in the rookie receiver. Other than that, they have no depth on the offensive side of the football, and they don't have a safety to stop over Kittle or a linebacker to literally stop Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Emmanuel Sanders that didn't get a touch anyway. Kendrick Bourne, though, that killed the Vikings last week, getting 2 touchdown receptions, only came with only 1 gain. 1 reception. Hopefully Tevin Coleman does not have a tough injury, because that running depth is one of the biggest strengths we have, even though Pat Mahomes is a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo, to be honest. Jimmy Garoppolo only went a 6 of 8. He went over under 100 yards, first time of the playoffs. That hasn't been done since the wild card game against the Tennessee Titans against the New England Patriots back in the AFC wild card game. So that was shocking. 2 touchdown passes off a failed 2-point conversion over Aaron Rodgers. He got 2 touchdowns with 2 picks. They came off the midfield. There was one bad read off Rodgers. I mean, that was off coordinated from the route, but I felt like that was just a bad mistake. Like sometimes the pocket was collapsing sometimes, but Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa, I think he had an assist sack in there. Richard Sherman came with a pick, and so did Emmanuel Mosley from the midfield. And that was off Aaron Rodgers just running for his life on plays. Or it's either him moving out the football or him finding Jimmy Graham for those last-minute passes for first downs he had in the fourth quarter. Oh, God, Aaron Jones. He had a tremendous season. Tremendous season. He came off well in the last game they had against the Seahawks. And then they just get snuffed. Aaron Jones carried twice. I mean, for 12 yards with only 1 touchdown up the gut. And, God. I mean, it wasn't that desperate as the AFC Championship game, where they literally had goal line formations at like the 50 or something to stop Derek Derrick Henry. And for a split second, I almost thought the Chiefs were going to make it to the playoffs. To the Super Bowl. But lucky enough, Cinderella story, they made it to a conference championship. All they have to do is build up over the offseason, get a tremendous job in free agency. You guys could get a championship window. I don't know if Ryan Tannehill's planning on staying after the last couple starts he had, because it shows he can be an average quarterback. But it feels like in Tennessee he's going to stay systematic quarterback because over what we saw in the playoffs, Derrick Henry has been the primary guy that looks like the Titans are going to center their gravity around. But more into the Packers and 49ers game. Jimmy Graham got got 4 receptions for 59 yards. Aaron Jones got 5 receptions. Devontae Adams still went for 9 receptions for 138 yards. And it went off a Jay Sternberger touchdown from short, and he only got 13 yards. All I can say is he goes well with the receivers he does. He can move around. It feels like they can do decent route running, but I feel like these guys are decent, but they're not in depth. Other than Adams and Alan Lizard, I don't feel like most of this is like any type of threat to any team. Mercedes Lewis is okay. In short stints, he can catch a couple cool routes. I don't find Jay Sternberger interesting. Lizard. So actually, Jay Sternberger has the most potential. Other than that, I would keep that on the team. Jamal Williams, he should have got more touches, but the pocket kept collapsing. The defense was just too. The front 7 was just too good. Overwhelmed for like 3 sacks Aaron Rodgers took, or 4 sacks he had in the day. It was rough. He got one off Earl Mitchell, Nick Bosa. I think Earl Mitchell got injured in the play, like the last couple minutes of play, trying to stop Aaron Jones, and it ended up with him getting injured. It'll end up with Nick Bosa getting a bit wobbly. Scary moment, but at least Nick Bosa did his job. Richard Sherman comes back to the Super Bowl since 2014 after that upsetting loss that nobody wants to talk about. Why didn't you run the damn ball? Pete! Y'all thought I was going to blame Russell. It's not Russell's fault. It's their play calling that's always going to be at fault other than the player. The player got to capitalize just on the play. But writing up the play, that's Pete Carroll's fault. That's not Russell Wilson's fault. And I swear for him, I swear he still regrets it and blames himself for this day. But still, coach's fault. Other than that, I didn't find any interest other than just a bad interceptions. The defense, Darius Smith got a few tackles. He got injured in one play. Kingsley Keke got so many penalties off pass interference because he couldn't hold on to Deebo Samuel, and it just allowed for like so many penalties to come in, as well as guess who? King. Kevin King that only had 1 tackle the entire night. I don't think he even had a pass deflection. Coming along just caused a little trouble in the first half and the fourth quarter for the Packers. Oh God. Came up with Kyler Fackrell. The Gnarl Savage, just not much. Blake Martinez at least had some tackles to stop off the run, but it didn't stop. It didn't stop anything. It really didn't. It felt like the defense was just an afterthought. They only got like registered 1 sack the entire game, and that was off Kyler Fackrell when Garoppolo was staying a bit too much in the pocket. And as soon as we noticed a fumble, heights for the Packers making it to the Super Bowl completely ran up. But you guys should have known that from the jump. The Packers team has been playing well, but their greatest performance, I thought, was when they faced off against the freaking Raiders, like week 12, I think. That was week 12 or earlier on the season. I think that was the best part of the game because Jones dropped 4 touchdown carries. No, I think that was the wrong game. I still, yeah, it was Aaron Rodgers. He went for 5 touchdown passes, and their defense got 2 picks. But that was a playoff race. That was when the Raiders were a playoff strong team and for a while until they kept falling off, and I think they lost their last 4 games straight. And they were still a playoff team, and they had some young talent to go by. So beating a team like that when they were heightened momentum in the regular season, I found that the best of the Packers than what they showed over the past 2 games in the playoffs and getting snuffed in the conference championship. So other than that, Garoppolo wasn't that. He was efficient at least. He went 6 of 8 with 77 carries. He got to bump that up a bit higher. This should have been a blown out off the jump, but thanks to our running game was strong, simple offensive presence that Terry Bradshaw, oh my God, Terry Bradshaw brung up over the interview after the celebration for the championship trophy came up. It was like the running game was strong, and even though the injuries came up, he went over to Jed York and he's like, oh yes, it's not like that Garoppolo trade got us lucky at all. I'm a genius. I'm a freaking genius. Uh, Other than that, really good conference championship game for the 49ers. And this is the second time they dominate. I don't know how is it going to look when we face up against Kansas. It's our first time meeting Chiefs in history. The Chiefs haven't made it to the championship since freaking a Super Bowl since Super Bowl one. Super Bowl one. No, I'm kidding. It was Super Bowl, I think, 4 when they played off against the Minnesota Vikings and won their first championship. Then it was downhill from championship slump to being playoff dry. Worst, a bad GM, up being playoff choke hazards, and now they make it to the dance. I have no faith on the Chiefs because I am a 49ers fan, but I gotta be as logical as possible because I feel like the Chiefs have the more complete pieces thanks they actually build up. They have playoff experience and they have more ways to attack us other than the defensive side of the ball. That's just Tyrann Mathieu and a bit of the pass rush. I feel like that's not going to struggle at all. That we have to just give it over to Kittle. But other than that, I feel like this is going to be one of the best football games to watch. But optimism can get you somewhere, but not where you wanted it to be. Because we were supposed to have at least a high-scoring game thanks to you had the top offense against a Super Bowl common team like the Patriots. And it ended in the lowest scoring football game and a Super Bowl since Super Bowl 3. So you can't expect much. But that's the game. That's the DST show. And that's the 49ers beating the Green Bay Packers.